Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new section, a new series that I'm starting of City Skylines. I don't know if you guys actually have seen any of the previous videos where I did City Skylines. We opened up a city, we made a city called Oasis, and by we I mean I. But I did kind of ask for your input here. I'm gonna fast forward the selection of the seed of where I'm gonna put the city, and eventually, I do name the city Greensdale. I could have decided on a name. I did wanted to put Dansburg and uh, other names. I wanted to do Yoshi Town, but either way, I ended up with Greensdale, and we're gonna jump right into it. I'm really excited to share with you guys this new city and how I kind of want to go step by step in how I do start a city. Now that I have some experience in the past, I do kind of want to shape the city into a better, um, have better infrastructure and like better ways of managing yourself around the city. But anyway, with that said, let's get into it. And they do start you off with $70,000 to do your city, and that gives that's enough to start you off with electricity and water. But first things first, you got to make some roads. Uh, the design that I went with is kind of those small towns that you see when you go in, like when you're driving through, you're having a road trip, you're driving across the state, and you see like you drive past these small towns, especially here in Texas when you're driving out west, is the long roads in the middle that kind of go from 75 to 50 and then 40 and then eventually 35, and you got to keep going 35 until you get past the town and you end up going back to 75 um, miles an hour. So I kind of wanted to keep that same structure um, of when you pass through Greensdale. Is That's basically how I was going to start off. When you start off as a small town, that's a design that I went with at first. Um, and since I do have some experience in this game and kind of know what to expect and kind of look forward and things that that will affect you in the future, I kept that in mind making this town. So you'll see that here later on. But first things first, got to lay down the groundwork of where I want these houses to be and like businesses and industrial areas. That's kind of basically how it starts off, and I'm gonna finish it off with a little dirt road in the back. Kind of just want to use up as much space as I can, while also making it look like, this is kind of be the, kind of like a little dirt road in the back that people walk through. So I kind of kept that in mind while making this town. It's kind of like how an actual town would be, and I know that's it's expected when you make towns. It's like, or I mean, I don't know how people would design their own town, but I kind of kept that in mind, just kind of like the basic structure of it. Uh, and here you see me. I left some room for commercial, and it's like when you're driving through a neighborhood, there's gonna be a town somewhere. Like not a sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. When you're driving through a town, you see like shopping malls or like a bank nearby, or like when you do commercial, there's also going to be like gas stations or like a Burger King being set up. So I kept that in mind, that to have that within the residential area, just so that my residents can kind of do some shopping near their homes. Like I'm trying to keep it as walkable as possible. But anyway, here you see me putting down the commercial. And I really love this tool, is that it doesn't overlap. Like once you set down the residential area, it doesn't overlap it and erase it. So keeping in mind that when you do set down the industrial, it does pollute the ground that you do have. So I kept that in mind, so that because pollution does make your residents sick. So I keep that divide between them with the commercial. And like I said, whenever you're driving through a town, most of the time they're trying to attract tourists by keeping the commercial on the main road. So I kept that in mind. I also do know that there's some homes, like whenever you're driving past these towns, these small town like cities, there's like some houses when you start off, It's like first you see a house and then two houses, and the next thing you know, you see a bunch of gas stations and restaurants, and then you'll see like a movie theater, and then you're like, okay, I'm in a town. So keeping that in mind, I decided to do this, and knowing that the industrial area will produce more money for me and give my residents jobs. I decided to keep that while also doing the thing where some of these people may need somewhere to go eat. So while they won't have to drive very far, and they can walk like in their lunch hours, walk. I'm very thoughtful of my residents, so yeah, this tool comes in handy. Uh, the larger, that select the medium, just kind of. I'm getting distracted by the groundwork, but I need to focus in. Also, like, I think I do. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want to keep in mind the pollution of the ground from this industrial areas. And this tool is really cool because it's like you can do one square, or you can just spread it out and do more, like have a lot more squares being painted. So but yeah, Greensdale for me is going to be a new experiment using the same knowledge that I had in the previous town, which is Oasis, which turned out to be a major success. And that I evolved it all the way to nuclear power, and past that point where I was building a stadium. And here you see that with the 70,000, I'm down to 54, and it gives me enough money to plant some power plants. And with me being at Greensdale, I wanted to keep energy green and focus on using renewable sources like wind. I was gonna say reliable, but the wind is very reliable in this map. The seed that it gave me was kind of helpful, having a little mound there with a huge area of wind that kind of does produce a lot of megawatts for energy that can hopefully supply the entire town in the meantime until I unlock other things. And here's where I mess up. I do end up putting the water tower near the industrial area, so that does end up polluting. I do fix that here in the future, but in the meantime, I just kind of laid down the groundwork, the pipes, lay the pipe down, and get water to the residents. In the meantime, I do want to say that I do pause the game as I do all this, because I hate like having to start the game and them already immediately complaining. You can complain after I lay everything down, and this is the waste disposal, water disposal. This is where all the water will go to, like waste. I really don't want to say poop, but here's where all the poop and dirty water will end up going to, which eventually will pollute the water. But we can later relocate that, and the water will hopefully eventually heal itself, or purify itself, really, better said. So I'm just making sure I have all my bases covered. I have my water, I have my energy, and now we're gonna see it develop. And here you see me. You gotta have all these connected. Like once they connect, a tip is that you don't really have to run these power lines throughout the city. It's like once they connect to one building, and they end up and those buildings connect to each other, and those power lines would just immediately, the power can just connect to those cities. And I do fast forward it just so you guys can see the development of the residential area. I like seeing these little homes here and there being built. They kind of have like little, I don't know, it's giving that rural vibe. And like I said, I do want to make this a walkable city. I want to make the city of Greensdale very walkable, and hopefully one day have bike lanes across. So I do end up improving these roads now that I have a little bit of time, and I have some money left over. I do end up putting some sidewalks on there so that my residents can walk. So it's very this game is very resident. Since I guess it is a town, it's very resident. What's that word? Where it's really like that's the main focus is the residents. So you want to make your residents as happy as possible. So by putting some sidewalks in there, you do end up making them happy in the long term, in the long run. And the happier the residents are, the more welcoming the city is to tourists and new people as they drive by. So, and here you see me relocating the water tower. I realized I was like, I can't relocate these buildings. I did want to just switch out the water. I did want to switch out the water. What's it called? Sorry, the ice cube company. I did wanted to relocate that further away and then change that to a commercial, but I do end up just relocating the water tower over here. Just first, I gotta make sure that it's not. And I do end up buying a new water tower instead of relocating it because I get distracted. I was like, okay, let me see first off that it's not industrial. And I'm like, okay, well, turns out I do still have this water tower. I never moved it. So I'm going to go ahead and just... and you can't really sell it. Like, once you demolish it, you get no money back from it. Like, you see, like, some of these buildings, like, or roads, whenever you demolish them, you do get a refund back. But when it's something like this, you don't. And I'm going to let this here... it kind of helps out with the water. The more water the residents get. So I'm not really upset about it. I do want to make sure it's connected. And once it's... and it did ask for electricity, but like I said, like once a building opens up nearby that is connected to electricity, then that power just kind of run through it and connect to the other one next to it. And as you see here, those green things is just meaning that it's producing money for me. And that's basically what I want to focus on right now, is keeping my money. I want to stay above water with the budget, and that way I can spend on more things for my residents. Basically, what I'm trying to get at. And yeah, a really helpful thing about this game is the info, and it kind of tells you the population, how happy your residents are, which you want to keep it in the blue. The land value, like eventually, like you're able to once you put some parks and stuff, it kind of brings up the land value, which you can use to budget your not tariffs, tax your residents. And one small detail I love about this game is the fact that you can add either stop signs or lights. Just kind of fashion your city to like how you want, to a very small level. So I do want to add some lights here and there so I can keep my residents safe, and add some stop sign in this area, knowing that not many people will be driving in the side, from 9 to 5. Keeping that in mind. I know it's just a game, but I do want to keep my focus on keeping the traffic clear and knowing that my residents are safe, because you do have to pay for the road, keeping the road maintenance, or just road maintenance in general. And here you see me messing with the budget of the economy. You do pay for the road maintenance, and you do pay for the electricity and water that you see here, and I do bring those down because I do have more than enough water being supplied, so I can just bring the budget down of how much I pay my workers, because I know I have sufficient water to go through this town, and I don't have to be paying them enough. And I know it's nighttime, so you can another small detail about this, that you can switch the budget from day and night. As you see here, I do bring the nighttime to a lot lower, since I know my residents aren't going to be using the electricity and water that much at night. So I do bring those down. I do want to work on the it's called highway budget, but I just call it road, road maintenance, because I know, I haven't really messed with that as much. So I kind of want to, I do see my electricity down to the yellow. I don't want to ever have it go down to red, because once it does, the residents complain, and I hate having to see the little power symbol come over their heads. And I do already see people complaining that they need workers. The factories that are being opened here in Greensdale are opening up, and they're needing workers. So I do want to work on that by adding residential areas, so that they can build more homes and kind of grow from there. You do also have a small symbol here in the bottom right corner. As you see, the green is represents the residential area, blue represents the commercial. As you see now, I have no need. Okay, spoke too early. I have very little need for industrial, no need for commercial, and a little bit need for residential. So I'm going to be moving this commercial out and placing some residential in there. That way, because I don't see any development there, so I'm just going to go ahead and just change that to residential, and hopefully get that residential need down. And we'll bring the electricity a little bit down, because I do have another power plant. And it's always during the day that your residents need more electricity and more water, so I'll keep that up. And as you can see here, I am now making a profit with the money, as you see in the bottom left, middle left, next to the name Greensdale. You see your money, like how much money you have. I have $13,000 right now after wasting possibly about $30,000 on energy and water. And I was losing money, because you do have to pay, like, you have that budget. You do have to pay your employees that run the electricity and run the water, and that's kind of how your budget. So I keep mine down. That way I can make some money in the beginning, and then later on, once I do require that that extra energy, the very last bit of energy to maintain my people happy, I do bring the budget all the way up, because eventually I don't need to. I'm not really worried about spending that much on that. So the more that I spend on the, keeping the workers there, because it's like hiring staff. So the more staff that you hire, the more electricity it produces to the maximum. So if I can bring that down while having more energy being produced, then it's fine for the time being, really. And another thing that I want to point out is the resident population. I'm at a 390. Is that a 2 or 7? Okay, I'm at a 409 right now, and growing. But I do see that signal there that it has. I'm very much in need of residential people. And the reason I'm going into detail about this game, as much detail as I possibly can, is that I did hear there was a streamer that I saw. I won't say any names. I don't want to. It's not really doxing. I don't think people really care. But they ranked City Skylines, which to me it's a really great game that you can develop. I used to play SimCity back when I was like in middle school. We had a lot of free time in computer class, so I would go and build cities, and then you can kind of have like destruction and stuff. And this game kind of reminds me of that. So congratulations to me, because I did finally reach the 448 population. I think you level up by the population. So like I said, this game is very resident oriented, and I do want to keep these as symmetric as possible by leaving it at a 90-degree angle. Where was I going with this? I was going with somewhere with this. I do want to go in specifics about this game, because the person, the streamer, said that they didn't kind of understand it, or what to do. Like I wasn't really sure, but they said that they didn't really understand this game. So I kind of want to go into detail to kind of explain to people how this game is played, or how it's, the purpose of this game. The purpose of the game is just to build a city, really, plain and simple. And then it's just to maintain it, because it's very difficult after a while. The first time I did play this game, I did have like some suffering cities here and there that I would end up going bankrupt because you do have to have a balance between industrial and your residents, and then also you have to maintain your residents happy, and then your business is happy, because there is also something called pollution, which is like, it can either be noise pollution, it can either be Ground pollution, it could be like you're running out of materials so they can't produce anymore. Like, so businesses really pretty much shut down because there's nothing to produce, because your town is run out of resources. So I do want to point every detail that I can out so that people, and as you can see here, we need more power, and we're down at the red. See, as soon as it hits red, it's very they start complaining. So I do want to keep that from ever being red if I can. And another thing that I could have done is really just fix the budget. But like I said in the beginning, also I do get, I think that was like what, $10,000, or I do end up going to $30,000 once you level up. They give you more money. So yeah, that's another reason why I want to explain and go into detail about this game. Is I did hear somebody say that they didn't know how to play. So there's that. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this first video of the new series called City Skylines, and we're gonna name the city Greensdale. Well, City Skylines is the name of the city, but we're gonna name this The Making of Greensdale. So I hope you guys stay tuned for the more development of this town, and I'll see you guys later. Enjoy.